Alright guys, so here we are once again. It's another track review. I'm going to be talking about the newest Slipknot song called All Out Life. Excuse me. All Out Life. It just came out yesterday and I listened to it for the first time last night, and when I first heard it, I'm going to be honest, I was like, man, this sounds like a song they didn't use off the Grey Chapter and they just now are showing it to us. Like, that was like my first reaction to it. Well, I got to listen to it. I went back and listened to it a few times before making this video. My opinion of it did change a little bit. I do like it a few touches more than I like when I first heard it. I mean, it's just okay for me. It's not anything that really blew me away. It's just an okay song. It's cool, I guess. Like, I'm not. Yeah, I was reading like some of the comments in the description of that, those uploads, and just people just like just falling in love with it. Oh my god, this is awesome, this is so heavy. Like, uh, I'm not one of those people. It was just like mediocre for me, just okay. um, what got me excited though, man, was saying that they were saying that it's going to be like Iowa levels of heavy again. Well, not with this track, I don't think so. I mean, this is just a demo, so this is hopefully not the final product of what it's going to sound like when they actually do the full-blown album. So I guess they haven't even hit the studio yet, so hopefully this is just like an early teaser of what's to come, and hopefully it's one of the more accessible, easy listening kind of songs that are going to be on the upcoming record. um, I can kind of hear a little bit of what they're going for, like for I guess Iowa influences, like with some of Corey's vocal patterns. His voice is a bit more aggressive on this song as opposed to some of the more recent material that Slipknot has put out. Uh, like some of the grooves and stuff like that are kind of throwbacks to what you heard on Iowa. But if we're talking about a production standpoint, though, man, not even fucking close to Iowa. I actually have somewhere in a box, I do have the cassette demo that somebody gave me. This was like months before Iowa came out back in 2001. I got my hands on a cassette of the Heretic song. If we were comparing those two, now to be fair, that is arguably one of Slipknot's heaviest songs. Especially if we're talking about Iowa, that is like one of the heaviest songs off that record. So I mean, it is kind of in that song's favor, like if we're talking about Iowa material. But I really hope with what they're saying about going back to the roots of Iowa, like that kind of heavy, just in your face kind of shit. I really do hope that we get that with this upcoming Slipknot release. But I actually just listened to Heretic before this too. I put that song on again, and just that production on it, just so beefy, so thick, just such a punch in your fucking face. It's like they take everything that they did on like the album before, the self-titled, and they just churned everything up, like, and just, I mean, goddamn, I can't even put into words how heavy the guitar tone is, how heavy the bass is, the drumming, just, and Corey's just as pissed as ever. Like, really, really fucking awesome stuff. It's like borderline death metal on a lot of that record. And actually, at that point in my life, I was going through. There was an era, like, I was listening for a couple few years of some of the new metal that was coming out, because new metal was kind of starting to take off back then in the late '90s, and it did kind of hook me a little bit. So I started kind of listening to that in conjunction. I was still listening to death metal, I was still playing on guitar and stuff, but I was starting to listen to some new metal too. But somebody showed me Slipknot, one of my friends, and I'm like, man, who's Slipknot? And they showed it to me. I'm like, dude, man, this is like, they're doing some like death metal kind of stuff in here with the drumming and just with the guitars, man, just how heavy the guitars were. You got your tremolo picking and stuff like that in a lot of those parts. Um, and I just, like, Slipknot grew on me back then. And then he even had some of the Mate Feed Kill Repeat material, which was something I never ever really heard anybody do before, which I thought was really cool. And then when Iowa came out, man, it actually, I can see too how Slipknot could be, I guess, a gateway drug to heavier like kinds of music, like trying to get into death metal. because it pulled me back into just listening to death metal full time and like dismissing a lot of the other newer shit that I was listening to. It like really opened my eyes. Like, man, why the fuck am I listening to all this new metal shit, man? Like, this is death metal's who I am. This is what I like. So, like for me, those first couple records, I have a soft spot for because they got a lot of death metal influence. I mean, Mick Thompson, shit. There's pictures of him out there. He's got an Immolation shirt on. Like, he's a death metal dude. So you hear a lot of really heavy stuff. Like me being a death metal guy, you hear a lot of that in Slipknot's earlier material. Even some of the newer songs, there's a little bit here and there, but not as much, unfortunately. Because I remember when I got in, like, once I got to Volume 3, I kind of stopped listening. It started to get too commercialized, just too pretty sounding, I guess. So I kind of got away from it. I mean, I've only heard like a couple bits and pieces, songs off of each of the records that came along the way. Like with the third one, Gematria, I think, is a badass song off All Hope Is Gone. I want to fucking cover that one of these days as a killer song. But great chapter. I heard that song, the Negative one. And actually, my first reaction to that song when I first heard that, the first 30 seconds, whatever, of that song, like, dude, this sounds like something off of their self-titled. And then it just kind of turned into, I guess, easy listening, you want to call it. Just where it was like too accessible for my taste. I'm like, all right, man, it was pumping me up, and now it just let me down. Like, that's kind of how it was. So I never listened to really anything more on that album. But if they're going back to that Iowa levels of heavy, I really hope they do that, man. But I go on, but let's talk about this in the comments. What do you guys think of the new Slipknot track? Do you guys enjoy it? Do you not enjoy it? Let's talk about it a little bit. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, man, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take it easy.